All right, guys. So once again, we got to talk about the meltdown that is happening for the Democrats and the progressive left over the Roe v. Wade ruling being overturned. Now, here's the thing, man. I know you guys are sick and tired of hearing about Roe v. Wade and the leftist / Democrat meltdown. However, I mean, it just continues to happen, man. They just won't let this go, right? I think this is one of those things that they will be melting down over for the next 2 to 3, 4, 5 months, right? Maybe even a year from now, 2 years from now. They will still be melting down over this, okay? And quite honestly, guys, I honestly can never get enough of the leftist / Democrat Party meltdown, right? I mean, that is one of the reasons why I can do this channel and make these videos every single day, is because I absolutely love when the left loses their mind, right? It reveals who they actually really are. And in the midst of this Roe v. Wade decision from the Supreme Court, the Democrats' mask has actually been put on, right? Their KKK mask, specifically when it comes to their attacks on Clarence Thomas. As you know, woke celebrities have come out and called Clarence Thomas racial slurs, right? Like call him an Uncle Tom. You even have Democrat politicians like Hillary Clinton, who has come out and attacked Clarence Thomas as a very resentful person. And he's always been that way since she went to school with him back in the day. Take a look.
Justice Thomas has sort of floated that out there about contraceptive rights,
yes,
contraception, and about same-sex marriages. But other justices have pushed back to say, no, he's really sort of on his own with that.
Well,
don't believe that?
Well, he may be on his own, but he's signaling, as he often did. You know, I went to law school with him. Mm-hmm. He's been a person of grievance for as long as I've known him. Resentment, grievance, anger. And he has signaled in the past to lower courts, to state legislatures, find cases, pass laws, get them up. I may not win the first, the second, or the third time, but we're going to keep at it.
So you're saying people pay attention to
yes,
this?
The people he is speaking to, which are the, right-wing, very conservative judges and justices and state legislatures. And the thing that there's so many things about it that are deeply distressing, but women are going to die, Gail. Women will die.
Yeah, talk about fear-mongering and over-exaggeration coming from the Democrat Party once again. Women will die, right? Women will die. Forget about all the babies that will be saved, that won't die. Just think about all the women that will allegedly die from this decision because they won't have access to what the Democrats like to call reproductive health care. Even though some of the most strictest laws that ban abortion in this country, they still allow the procedure to be done in the case where a mother's life is in danger. But they always seem to kind of leave that out, right? The situations where a mother might actually die, even in states with some of the most strictest laws, they can still get the procedure done, right? Or, hey, worst come to worst, they can just go to a blue state that seems to have become abortion sanctuaries where they have no problems busing people, right, to their states to get the procedure done, right? Just ignore all the facts, right? Let's listen to Hillary Clinton and her tell us that Clarence Thomas has always been a man of grievance and resentment. The same woman who could not get over, who still has not got over losing the 2016 election, right? She thinks that the 2016 election was stolen from her by Vladimir Putin and Trump, right? And she is still crying about it to this day. But she's trying to tell us that Clarence Thomas is a man of grievance and resentment, okay? I just find this to be fascinating here. But instead of listening to Hillary Clinton and her testimony about Clarence Thomas and who he is, what people actually should have been listening to is actually Justice SONIA SOTOMAYOR, one of Clarence Thomas's colleagues, and her testimony about who he is, despite the fact that they disagree with each other politically and ideologically. Take a look.
But I suspect I have probably disagreed with him more than with any other justice. That we have not joined each other's opinions more than anybody else. And yet, Justice Thomas is the one justice in the building that literally knows every employee's name, every one of them. And not only does he know their names, he remembers their families' names and histories. He's the first one who will go up to someone when you're walking with him and say, "Is your son okay? How's your daughter doing in college? He's the first one that, when my stepfather died, sent me flowers in Florida. He is a man who cares deeply about the court as an institution, about the people who work there, but about people. He has a different vision than I do about how to help people and about their responsibilities to help themselves. I've often said to people, Justice Thomas believes that every person can pull themselves up by their bootstraps. I believe that some people can't get to their bootstraps without help. They need someone to help them lift their foot up so they can reach those bootstraps. That's a very different philosophy of life. But I think we share a common understanding about people and kindness towards them. That's why I can be friends with him and still continue our daily battle over our difference of opinions in cases.
So yeah, I think what Justice Sotomayor is saying about Clarence Thomas should hold a lot more weight than what Hillary Clinton is saying, right? Maybe Good Morning America should have actually been interviewing her about Clarence Thomas and who he is, rather than Hillary Clinton, right? Because it seems to me that Justice Sotomayor, even though she disagrees politically with Clarence Thomas, she actually knows him as a man, and he doesn't sound like the guy that Hillary Clinton is trying to describe, right? But with that being said, speaking of resentfulness and grievance, it seems like that is what the Democrat Party is becoming, right? As one particular politician in the Democrat Party seems to be the most upset, right? In fact, she actually seems to be losing her mind with each and every passing day. And the politician I'm talking about is AOC, who went on Instagram Live to basically declare any Democrat who is not pro-choice as a dino, a Democrat in name only. Take a look.
Also, if you live in a blue area, when people say go vote, that should include primary elections too. Because the thing that a lot of people don't like to talk about is the fact that not every Democrat is pro-choice, okay? So the ones that aren't, we really need to reassess if it's appropriate for them to continue to serve in 2022.
Yeah, so that is AOC, right? Basically calling for any Democrat that is not pro-choice, they can't serve, right, anymore. They cannot be in office, okay? As if, having a difference of opinion disqualifies you from office, okay? That is how radical and extreme these people are on the left. If you disagree with them, you can't be in office, right? That's basically what she's saying. And AOC, again, who's been at the front lines of the insurrection against the Supreme Court, has said that the Supreme Court is illegitimate, and also kind of doubled down on this idea, this far left idea that the Supreme Court is illegitimate because of the decisions that they're making that they don't agree with. Went on Stephen Colbert to, again, expand on this idea that the Supreme Court is illegitimate. Take a look.
Of course, on Friday, they overturned both Casey and Roe v. Wade. What is your reaction to what you're hearing from the Supreme Court?
Well, I think one of the things that we're seeing here is the Supreme Court is actively delegitimizing itself. And what we have...
When you mean delegitimize, and I want to hear the rest of the answer, but
Yeah.
I hear that word delegitimize, and certainly in Casey, they actually were worried that they would lose legitimacy in the court. They'd do irreparable damage to the court.
Yes.
What do you mean when you say delegitimize?
So what that means is that the Supreme Court has a power, but its power is in whether its rulings are heeded and respected, and if so, how much and to what extent. And when we have the framing of, the framing of our government, the presidency, Congress, the president, Congress, and the Supreme Court are supposed to be three co-equal branches. Co-equal, none with supremacy over the other. And when any one of those branches overreaches its authority, it is the responsibility of the other two to check the overreach of that authority. The Supreme Court has engaged in the overreaching of its authority in denying the human and civil rights of any pregnant person or person that could become pregnant in the United States of America. They have engaged in overreach, and it is the responsibility of the president and Congress to put the Supreme Court in check because they have delegitimized themselves.
Guys, isn't it hilarious how when the Democrats don't get their way, all of a sudden, the government institution that does not agree with them is illegitimate, right? It's illegitimate. But these are the same people that try to lecture us about an insurrection, about a January 6th. When every single time the Democrats don't get their way, they always challenge it, right? They're always challenging the institution, saying that the institution in and of itself is illegitimate and must be replaced, right? You got Democrats out here calling to demolish the court, right? It's illegitimate. Hey, we need to expand the court. We need to put 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 liberals on the court, okay? Because we can't get our way. It's funny how that works. It's amazing how that works. But let's actually break down what AOC is saying here, right? She's saying that the Supreme Court is illegitimate because they've overreached in their power, right? They've overreached. Each of the 3 branches of government are supposed to check each other, okay? Seems like AOC has taken a basic civics course, right? But what she doesn't understand, what she seems to be forgetting here, and the reason why she's not mentioning it, because the democracy is not in her favor when it comes to this, is that, the Democrats in the legislative branch have a chance, if they want to basically overrule the Supreme Court by codifying Roe v. Wade into law, right? That's what they can do. They can pass legislation to legalize abortion across the country. But why don't they do that, right? They've had 50 years to do it, and they just refuse to do it. What a reason why is because most of the American people don't really agree with it, right? Even though most American people agree with Roe v. Wade, most American people, particularly Democrats that support this, doesn't even really know what it does. They don't understand that Roe v. Wade simply prevented states from outright banning abortion, right? However, repealing Roe v. Wade doesn't necessarily mean that abortion is going to be banned across the country, okay? So again, while most people agree with that, most of the American people actually disagree with abortions after the first trimester, okay? Which Roe v. Wade allows, right? Which means that fundamentally, they really don't agree with Roe v. Wade if they actually understood what Roe v. Wade allows when it comes to abortions and at what point in a woman's pregnancy is abortion allowed. And this is why the Democrats have not passed any legislation to codify Roe v. Wade in the law. The reason why is because they know that most of the American people don't really agree with late-term abortions, right? Which is what Roe v. Wade allows, okay? That's why they don't really want to touch it. That's why they're totally content with allowing the abortion issue to basically be settled by a weak Supreme Court decision, right? That's why they're cool with it. Because they know they don't really have the numbers, the democracy on their side to pass legislation to do what they claim they want to do. Because a lot of these people are extreme on this issue. A lot of these people want to allow abortion up until what? The 9th month of pregnancy, okay? Well into the 3rd trimester, right? In some cases, post-birth, okay? They want to allow it. Look, these people are extremists on these issues, man. And they know they're extreme. And that's why when it comes down to actually doing what they claim they believe in so much, democracy, right? They don't actually want to do that. They don't want to do anything democratic. Everything they want to do is authoritarian, right? We want the court to enact our authoritarian stuff. And if they don't, then they're illegitimate, right? We want to expand the court, okay? We want to make DC a state, right? We want to do all this stuff to help the Democrats secure more power, but they don't want to pass any legislation. Again, it's amazing how that works. It's absolutely amazing how that works. So with that being said, again, people like AOC, man, they're continuing to lose their minds over this issue. I really don't understand why, because abortion is not outright banned in this country. I don't think it's really going to change all that much except make some women think harder, right, about what they're going to do with their unborn baby, okay, which I think is a good thing, right? I think that's a good thing in my opinion, right? What do I know? Let me know what you guys think. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.